Senator Kyrsten Sinema targeted again.
I just want to know if you can commit, as my senator, if you can commit to passing a reconciliation that could provide a pathway to citizenship for immigrants.
Remember what Joe Biden said yesterday?
I don't think they're appropriate tactics, but it happens to everybody. From the only people it doesn't happen to are people who have Secret Service standing around them. It's part of the process.
Joining me now, Karl Rove, former senior advisor to President George W. Bush, a Fox Business contributor. Karl, this continued harassment of Senator Sinema was endorsed, sanctioned by Joe Biden yesterday.
Sure sounded like it to me. Wonder if he'd feel the same way if people had hectored him on his Amtrak visits following the hearing in which Anita Hill alleged that a Supreme Court nominee had harassed her. I wonder if they would have, if he'd have the same attitude if people had hassled him on his way back and forth to Delaware. And you know what's also interesting to me? The people who are doing this on this weekend, when they followed her into the restroom, they were demanding that she support a pathway to citizenship in the reconciliation bill, when the Senate parliamentarian has already said that can't be done. And then yesterday, the woman at the airport was demanding that she support a pathway to citizenship. Well, Kyrsten Sinema is one of the sponsors of the DREAM Act, which grants citizenship to the so-called Dreamers, which that woman was. So either she doesn't know what the record of the member is that she's trying to accost, or she was just looking for what she got, which was her moment in the sun, looking like she was hassling a United States senator.
Right. If you listen to what these protesters, if you want to call them that, were saying or trying to say to her, they were struggling to remember the script. It didn't really add up. It was like when you call Casper Mattress to complain about your mattress being defective, and they're reading off a flip book, and they're not actually answering the question that you're asking. I digress, Karl. But to use your example, it says, what would happen if Joe Biden had been followed repeatedly and videotaped at a urinal in the bathroom? That's how invasive these tactics are. So where does it go from here? Does this get more or less support for the ginormo welfare that they're trying to push through the House and the Senate?
I don't think so. I think it makes Kyrsten Sinema look like a more sympathetic figure, as did the kayakers surrounding Joe Manchin's houseboat and screaming at him makes him a more sympathetic figure. This is anybody who thinks that these two people are going to be cowed by this kind of harassment are kidding themselves. It's going to stiffen their spine, not weaken their constitution.
Where are the liberal women standing up for Kyrsten Sinema? They're nowhere to be found. The headline in the Daily Beast about her being accosted in the bathroom was, and Bill McGurn wrote about this or mentioned it in the Journal today, Senator Kyrsten Sinema locks herself in a bathroom to avoid young activists on ASU campus. And then the Michelle Goldberg column in the New York Times today, the headline was, "What's wrong with Kyrsten Sinema?" Didn't mention the bathroom incident or the harassment, but they referred to her as being a narcissist rather than a maverick.
Yeah. Well, whenever you go against the sort of the dominant strain of the media, you're going to, even if you're a Democrat and even if you're a pretty liberal Democrat, you're going to get abused, and she's getting abused. And for standing up for her principles, for being a moderate Democrat in an era in which the left wing of the Democratic Party is ascended. So, but anybody who thinks that this kind of comment, these kind of comments, and these kind of sort of personal invasions, this kind of personal harassment, is going to change the minds of either one of these two people, I doubt it seriously. I think it's going to lock them even more strongly into their mindset.
Real quick, Karl, what's the future of the new age welfare, $3.5 trillion new age welfare, and then also the infrastructure bill? Biden speaking today in Michigan, he kind of sounded like he was delivering a eulogy for those two bills.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe they're going to get anything close to $3.5 trillion. In fact, they're already saying, well, we'll do, you know, it's going to be closer to 2 trillion or it's going to be under 2 trillion. But look, the fact of the matter is they've told us what they're going to do, which is engage in a gigantic expansion of the government and do so with so many budget gimmicks. I loved it. AOC was blunt. She came out and said, well, what we'll do is to slim down the cost is rather than authorize it for the entire 10 years, we'll authorize it for 3 or 4 or 5 years, and then we'll come back and have a fight over reauthorizing it and blame the Republicans for raising people's taxes if they don't go along with our welfare bills. So they've already been clear about what it is. They're stuck on, and let's be honest, this is a $5.5 trillion bill, according to the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget. And what they're going to do is try and put it on the books so that they get the $5.5 trillion over the next 10 years. But it may take them 2 or 3 bites at the apple to do it.
Karl Rove, thank you, sir. Great to see you.
You bet.